Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. See, this light is really bright. Turn it a little bit. That's better. How's everybody this morning? Getting ready for Christmas. Oh, there's Jacob.
Hi.
What's up? Say something so I know I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. All right, so we have a couple people here already. We have Myra and Susan. Good morning. Good morning.
Bring up this. I haven't done this yet. Bringing up stream chat. There you go.
Can you see the chat?
Yep.
Do you look at the chat on StreamYard or do you look at it on YouTube?
I'll look at it on my other monitor. So, on YouTube.
On YouTube? Oh, okay. Yeah, I tried doing like the StreamYard chat, but it's a little bit, my allergies are a mess, like always. The StreamYard chat is a little bit delayed, so
yeah,
I like looking at the YouTube chat. It's better. I just pop it out and then I close the I actually close YouTube. I just have the chat up. So if I have too many things going at one time, my computer gets laggy.
Mine doesn't.
Well, yeah. See, you're the one that all the money went towards your computer. But that's okay. That's okay. So how you doing? How have you been doing?
Good.
Good? Good. All right. I have a few things I wanted to chat about today, but I think we'll wait, see if there's a couple more people trickling in or that get their notifications or whatever. But
Fair.
so I wonder if everybody's done Christmas shopping or if there's going to be like this last little push at the end of the week, because Christmas Eve is already on Tuesday. And then before you know it, it's going to be 2020. Does that seem weird to you to say 2020 or no?
No.
No. It seems weird to me, but it's like, you know, when we were in school, I say we, I don't know why I say we. When I was in school, Adam just joined us. Hi, Adam. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, like when I was in school, you know, we would read books about the future, like 2020, you know, and the future is here now. It's going to be 2020. So it's strange. It's weird. You'll be shopping till the last minute and you need to get your tree up today. Oh, wow. I've had my tree up since before Thanksgiving because we hosted like a little Thanksgiving get together with our friends. So I put our tree up as part of my Thanksgiving decorations. And then I think it was like the following weekend, or maybe it was that weekend that my husband put all the Christmas lights up because he had like 4 days off or something and he didn't know what to do with himself. So he doesn't know what to do when he has that much time off. But I'm not all awake this morning. Jeez.
Fair.
You're going to date yourself. George Orwell's 1984 was a book about our future. Yes, it was. And you are not dating yourself. Well, maybe a little bit, but I know which book you're talking about. Do you know which one that is, Jacob?
Is it called 1984?
No.
Because I feel like I know of a book called 1984, but I don't think I know that though.
A book called 1984?
I believe so. Let me see.
Oh, maybe she's talking about 1984. I was thinking of a different book.
Yeah, there is a book called 1984. Oh wait, yeah, it is the same thing.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of a different book then.
Okay, yeah, it is the same thing.
See, I don't know what I'm talking about, apparently. I don't know what I'm talking about, apparently. I think I was talking about, I don't know, it'll come to me in a minute, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's the title.
Yeah, that'll
else, but
be,
anyways.
what, an hour and a half from now, though?
Yeah, probably. As soon as we're off the air, I'll be like, oh, now I remember what it was, and I look like an idiot. That's okay. That's okay. Sinister. Oh, good to see you too. He says, Jacob, you're a champ. Okay, awesome. Like, you gotta put up your, well, you can't see him on camera.
I don't have any.
Sometimes called The Contents of a Generation. Orwell, best known for 2 novels, Animal Farm and 1984. Yes, I remember reading Animal Farm. I don't think we read 1984 in high school that I recall. I do remember reading Animal Farm. So I do have a few things I wanted to talk about today, and I didn't go over them with you, Jake, but I think you are an expert anyways. So
it depends on what.
The first thing you might not know about. The first thing is called Spark. And Spark, oh, I'm sorry, my nose is up. I woke up this morning and I was like sneezing and coughing, and I had kind of like this itchy throat, and then I feel like I have sand in my eyes. Just one of those days. Hey, Sinister says, loves your hair. I should do that to my beard. How cool would that be? Like with a purple beard.
Yeah, like dyed facial hair has always been interesting.
That would be awesome.
Eyebrows, mustaches, beards, whatever else.
Should we do your eyebrows purple?
No.
We could do them a different color.
That's a bit overboard.
Yeah, that would be weird. That would be weird, but
maybe for a sub goal, but that's about it.
Maybe if it was just like, I mean, you could always do it with an eyebrow pencil or something, so it could just come off.
True.
But like to actually dye them in color, that's actually dangerous to do.
Yeah.
That. So close to your eyes, but I wouldn't do my eyebrows either. So yeah, let's talk about Spark for a minute. This is something, sure. This is something that I've been interested in for a while now, and I had to do a little bit more research on it to try and figure out if it was something I was interested in doing or pursuing or not. And ultimately, we decided to go ahead with it. Basically, Spark is a, see if I can share my screen really quick. How do I, bear with me. Still learning StreamYard here. There we go. So Spark is autism research. Oh, Adam says he knows what. Oh, he knows what a spork is. I'm not talking about a spork. I'm talking about Spark. So
you see, big brain people call it a fapoon.
A what?
A fapoon.
A fapoon?
Yeah.
I like that better, a fapoon.
Do you actually?
Yeah, because it sounds funny. Don't laugh at me. Jeez.
I'm going to, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
All right. That's okay. I know you laugh at me all the time. It's fine. Pick on your mother. It's fine. It's cool. I see how it is. Anyways.
Ruining my reputation.
Anyways, Spark. So, yeah, Spark is autism research, and what this organization is doing is researching autism through your DNA. So they're looking for mutations. They're looking for links between a child and their parent. They're looking for really anything, trying to get a better understanding of what autism is, or how it is not created. What's the word? I guess how it's formed in your DNA. I'm not good with the medical terms when it comes to a lot of that. So if this is something that you're interested in, or you have a child with autism or know someone with a child with autism, this might be interesting. So we've already filled out a few of the forms and surveys and things that they've asked us to do. We're just waiting for our kit that's going to come in the mail, and we'll probably, maybe we can document this whole process and kind of like share it with everyone how it goes. But we're waiting for a kit to come in the mail, and then we're able to send it back, and then they'll do their whatever testing. I don't know what the medical term is, but they'll run the DNA or do the testing on the DNA and see if there's any mutations or differences between me, his dad, him, and see what's going on there. So that should be interesting. No, there is no fee. There is no fee because it's all research. It's research based. You put in your address and your zip code, and it pulls up the closest center. So like for ours, it's UC San Diego. You do not have to go there or anything like that. That's just, I guess, where they do all of the lab research and where the people that you'll be communicating back and forth with. So for us, it'll be San Diego. And it was like, as soon as I filled out all of the paperwork online, because there is a little bit of things, a little bit of paperwork that you have to do, and they ask a lot of questions. And as soon as I did that, they sent me an email, and I responded to the email. It was kind of like a welcoming email, and kind of letting us know how the process was going to go. And then I asked the question, because this has kind of been one of the biggest questions that we've had for quite some time, but we have been waiting for years now to be tested by a geneticist. There's only one here in Nevada and Utah combined. There's only one geneticist. Or we could go to California, to UCLA, but the wait list is just as long over there, because you figure we have 3 states. So it's California, Utah, and Nevada, all with like 2 geneticists. So the wait list is years long, and we still haven't been able to get in to see a geneticist, basically to confirm his Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis. That's what we would want to go to the geneticist for. So when I received the email from Spark, I asked them about if they do the testing for Ehlers-Danlos, and currently they said no, that it's not something that they're testing for, because they don't, it's not on the like connective, how did she word it? It's not a gene that's connected to autism at this time. However, it may be in the future as they do more research and more testing. Susan's asking, is the kit a spit test? Yes, it is. So she did send me some information though, because I've had a very difficult time looking for medical journals or information in regards to the connection between Ehlers-Danlos and autism. However, I feel like there is one, just because so many people have told me that that they have the same symptoms as Jacob when it comes to the Ehlers-Danlos, and they are autistic. Now, the lady, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, that sent me the email did say that there is a connection between autism and hypermobility. So I found that to be interesting. So she sent me some articles. This one, what Ehlers-Danlos syndrome can teach about autism. And I'm not going to read through the entire article. I'll just put the link here in the chat and you guys can check it out if you're interested in it. There's the first one. There's another one here. This is more of like an actual medical journal. It's a lot of wording that I don't really understand so much. And then the last one here is also a medical journal. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Hello, there we go. And I'll put this one there for you too if anyone's interested in reading it. It's interesting information. Oops, I think that's the same link I just put.
I think you have to refresh that page for the link to come back.
Oh, because I pasted. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Jacob. There we go. Okay, so
I didn't know how the computer works.
So that's the third one there. If you're interested in reading any of those, I found them to be quite interesting, especially this one. It's easier to read and understand, whereas the other two are medical journals. So it's a lot of medical terms and medical jargon that I just don't understand. So this one was definitely an easier read, but very informative, lots of information there. So definitely check it out. But yeah, if you're interested in doing Spark, it's just sparkforautism.org. And I guess I could put that link in there too, if you're interested. There we go. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, if anyone here is interested in doing Spark, let me know, and maybe we can talk about it more, maybe kind of follow our process and see how it goes and like compare each other's results and things like that. It might be interesting to see what happens. I can show you our dashboard. It doesn't really show any personal information at this time. So after we registered and filled out all of the necessary paperwork and everything, this is our dashboard. And we had some tasks that were here. They were like some surveys and things that I had to fill out. And then it just shows you, you know, that they're shipping our kit, that we haven't received it yet. So there's some information here about autism, some other resources. And then across the top, you can click your documents. I'm not going to do that. You know, some other information there. You can also read some other test results and things that we have here. So it's pretty informative, pretty interesting. So I would definitely be interested to see or maybe compare results with someone else that might be doing this this research. So let's just get off of that. Stop sharing for a minute. How do I stop? There we go. Do you like it better like that? No, I like it better like that. So yeah, Spark seems pretty cool. So I guess we'll just kind of document it, see how it goes, see what happens and what information we can figure out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I actually just watched a documentary on this, and it was on YouTube. But it's about selective mutism. And selective mutism, a lot of people ask, you know, is selective mutism autism? And no, it is not. Or they ask, you know, is that a symptom of autism? No, it's not. Selective mutism is a separate diagnosis. However, I think that it relates to autism in the sense that it's a diagnosis, or it's an anxiety disorder, essentially. And a lot of children with autism have different types of anxieties, and selective mutism stems from that. So this is something that Jacob has been diagnosed with. And this was back when he was, I think it really started. When do you think? Oh, I just broke my pen. When do you think it started? Like maybe around 8?
Maybe. I don't really know.
I don't really remember either. I think maybe it was.
As weird as this sentence is going to sound, my youth is extremely blurry to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it probably started maybe around 8 years old. Typically, from what I've read and understood, selective mutism is usually in younger kids, like under the age of 5. However, it is found in teenagers and adults as well, although it's not as common. So basically, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's an anxiety disorder. It's almost like being frozen in fear. I don't know how else to describe it. So what happens is the person might be feeling anxious. Something happens to kind of trigger it, and they just become mute. They stop talking, they stop moving, they stop communicating. And it's a very tricky and difficult situation for the people that are around. How else would you describe it, Jake? Or is this something that you want to talk about?
I mean, it's weird to explain because honestly, I don't really understand it much either.
You know, and when I was watching the documentary about it, there were 2 little kids, younger kids, like elementary school aged, and 1 teenager. And they had a hard time explaining it too. They just said that when they started feeling anxious or scared, or that they physically could not speak. They physically could not communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to understand that, and I wanted to know more about that, because I see that in Jacob. And for a long time, I just kept telling him, like, use your words, tell me what's going on. And when I watched this documentary and they said, like, they physically cannot speak, I wanted to see if there was something that actually stops you from speaking, and there is. So what I learned is that anxiety can actually trigger or affect the speech area in our brain, and so that can cause the mutism, where it just stops you from physically being able to speak. Like, you know what you want to say, it's in your head, and you can even like say it to yourself, but you can't physically communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. Hi, Beth. Yeah, and the kids in this documentary, I think, have it a lot more severe than what I've experienced with you. Like, these children, the two elementary school children, like they would only speak to their closest family members, like the people that they lived with. No one else. Like they had this really strong fear of speaking to like this little girl. She wouldn't even speak to her grandfather. So it's really kind of scary, you know. And then the teenager, she had a fear of kind of like public speaking. So she could speak with her family and her friends, but if she like went into a grocery store, she wouldn't be able to like talk to the cashier, or you know, she just had that fear of speaking like to a stranger, I guess. She had that fear. So it was really interesting, and it was on YouTube, and I wish I had the link to it, but I don't remember what it was. I probably could go back and find it, but it was really interesting, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I know that anxiety disorders do accompany autism. So I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about that, or maybe like through what your experience is on it?
I mean, I don't think I have it like super severe, so I can't really say too much about it without feeling like I'm generalizing.
No, I mean, you don't have it severe, but there are things that seem to trigger it, or there is like that anxiety behind it that seems to trigger it in certain situations. And I think it's the same thing. It's just that, you know, like you said, it's just much more severe in these particular children. But okay, I don't know. Those are really the only things, specific items that I wanted to talk about today, are like specific points, I guess. But I don't know, do you have anything that you might want to talk about, or anybody in the chat that maybe has questions or something that they want us to talk about? I'm freezing. Are you cold?
No.
But you have that other heater on in your room. I'm cold. It was like 30, huh?
It's also very low though.
Oh, it's on low, I think. Let me see what the temperature is. It was 30 something this morning when I got up. Oh, it's 49 right now. I think it was 34 or something when I got up this morning. So it's chilly. It's not as cold now, but so at least it's not like, you know, on the East Coast. I think a lot of people are getting snow and freezing cold temperatures, and I'm complaining about it being like 30 something. So I'm glad it's not snowing here. Although they are calling for us to get snow, I think it says on Wednesday of next week, which would be what? Christmas, right? Christmas time? Wait, let me see. Snow on Tuesday. Oh, Christmas Eve then. So snow on Tuesday, rain on Thursday. So that'd be interesting. We'll see if we get snow.
Thursday. Okay.
So nobody in the chat has any questions or anything they want us to talk about? I don't know. Let's see, what else can we discuss today? I just, I have my YouTube, not YouTube, Yahoo screen up over here. I see. 8-year-old kid earns 26 million on YouTube this year. That's that kid that has his own like toy line at Target, right?
I would guess.
Yeah, I think so. Your nieces are all about that at the moment.
I mean, once 2020 hits, his entire channel's dead, though.
Oh, because of the new law?
COPA, yeah.
Well, if he's smart and he actually made 26 million profit, he could live off that the rest of his life and not have to worry about YouTube anymore.
But people being smart in 2019, or I guess technically 2020. Yeah, no.
Oh, I got your hair color.
Ooh.
So if anybody's wondering, this is the hair color that we used for his purple. It's Arctic Fox, and it is Purple Rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I got your hair color so we can fix it, because what happened was,
tell your failure story.
Yeah, I'll tell my story. So the lady at the beauty supply, Sally's, she said that this would probably be enough to do his whole head, just the small bottle. Because his hair is very long, but it's like shaved on the side, so it's just like the top part. So I just got one bottle. Well, we went through it and I still had like half of his hair to do. So I'm like, oh shoot. Right in the middle of coloring his hair, I ran back to Sally's to get another bottle that literally looks exactly like this. It's just that the color was slightly different. And I didn't realize it until I got home and had already colored his hair. And then like the top half is like kind of a pinkish purple and the bottom half is the dark purple that he originally wanted. So now I have to recolor the top half because it's like half pink and half purple, and it's just not what he wants. So we got to fix it. Flipping Crooters, homeschooling, any tips? I started homeschooling Dominic with Connections Academy. It is going rough, so any input would be greatly appreciated. Yes, definitely, Beth. If you could help out. I know Beth has like a homeschooling channel. He is 8 in the 3rd grade. Connections Academy, we kind of struggled with that school as well. Do you remember Connections?
To be fair, we have struggled with like every school.
That's true.
And you can literally name any online school, and we've struggled with it.
That's true. Although you seem to be although we've just started, but you seem to be doing well with your new school.
Well, yeah, because it actually teaches you things that are actually useful.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to, like, human relations and jobs and all that. Things that I'm actually going to use. Not negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Like, I'm going to use that.
To me, the biggest challenge, and this is just my personal experience with Connections Academy, is that they teach the test. And they teach the state testing, and that's all they teach. And that was frustrating to me because the kids aren't interested in it. Like, how can you keep your child engaged when it's not fun? It's all reading and math, and they're not doing anything else in school.
Exactly.
You know, it's like when I went to school, we had all these extracurricular things. We had music, we had art, we had, what was the name of that class I told you about? Singles living, you know, basic living needs after you get out of high school, like how to balance your checkbook and how to rent an apartment and things like that that I learned in
Things
high
you're
school.
actually going to use.
Yeah, I took like a home ec class where, you know, we learned like how to cook eggs and like how to hem your pants kind of a thing. And they don't teach any of that stuff in school anymore. And
Instead,
um,
like I said, we're learning negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
and the thing that I found with homeschooling is that you really, really have to make it fun, and you have to keep your kids engaged by finding out what it is that they enjoy. So if you are going to stick with Connections Academy and not do like just straight homeschooling, just keep in mind that Connections Academy has to follow the curriculum of the state. So you're still going to have like state testings and things like that. He's only in 3rd grade, so I don't know how much of the testings there are yet, but he will be taught the test, and he will be expected to take those state tests. And basically the main thing that they teach is reading and math, and it is boring. It is really boring. And I love school, and it's boring to me. So you have to have other things in there to keep them interested. So maybe you want to find some type of supplemental curriculum, maybe something extra that you can incorporate into their curriculum. You know, if he's interested, let's say like in Legos, maybe incorporate that into his math lessons, or maybe some type of science or STEM projects that are based around like building robots with Legos or something like that. Find out what they're really interested in, and you have to incorporate that. So Beth says, I don't know the laws there. Many thoughts. My thoughts are, if you don't succeed online, then teach reading and math only and do supplemental stuff for science, social studies, history. Because once they can read and do math, everything else will be repeated in junior and senior high. You don't know how to do just plain homeschooling. Video games. Okay, so video games is actually really, really great. And I say this because this is our future. Video games, computer programming, everything is on the internet and online. So if he's interested in video games, use that to your advantage, maybe for math lessons, or for like a science or STEM class, or look around your area to see if they have like coding classes, or like I know the Apple Store has classes for kids during the summer. I don't know if it's throughout the rest of the year, but through the summer, that teach them how to use different programs on the computer. They can create their own videos and movies and things like that, and it's all free. The Microsoft Store, check to see if there's one in your area. They have a lot of coding and computer classes that your kids can take, or they call them camps because they're usually 3 or 4 days at a time. So, and they're all free. So just kind of incorporate that into your curriculum. Or, you know, like, hey, we're not going to do reading and math today. We're going to do a STEM lesson. And our STEM lesson is going to the Microsoft Store and learning how to code our own video game. So, you know, there's ways to incorporate it, or maybe find some video games also. What was it? Do you remember the name of that? I think it was Brain Pop.
Oh, yeah.
Brain Pop. Let me see if I can find that. Brain Pop is really fun. There's a lot of, like, I even enjoyed it. So there's Brain Pop and Brain Pop Junior. let's see here. Okay, so here's the link. This has a lot of lessons that can help you across all different subjects. And it's got fun little videos and stories, and it also has a lot of games. So it's almost like they're playing, but they're learning their lessons at the same time. So Brain Pop is really cool. It's something that we used, I think, almost throughout all of elementary school, and we both really enjoyed it. So check out Brain Pop and Brain Pop Junior. Thank you, Beth. We'll see you later. Thank you for being here. Another thing that I used, if you're going to do like straight homeschooling, is, let me see if I can find it really quick so I can give you the link. Oh, that's not the right one. It's Easy Peasy. He has an IEP, so it makes everything harder for us. That was the biggest problem that we had with all of the schools, was that the schools would not comply with his IEP. And I think it is a little bit harder because it is an online school. However, they still need to comply. And that was one of the biggest issues that we were having, was that they were just not following his IEP, and Jacob was not getting the education that he should have been getting. And, you know, we ended up just straight homeschooling. Of course, now he's in a private high school, and so far that has been going well. But if you decide not to do the online schooling, or you're looking for some supplemental, this is really great. I'll give you the link to this one also. This is Easy Peasy, is the name of it, and it's all in one. What is it? Easy Peasy all in one homeschool. And Jake and I actually did this for quite a while also. It's a little tricky kind of to navigate the website, but the lady that runs this website is pretty amazing. If you click on the area, I can just share my screen really quick. You might remember this too when I share it here.
I remember it.
You remember it? Okay, so if you click up here in the area where it says, wait, there you go, where it says courses, you can see all the courses that they have. And it's really simple to follow. So like if it says first level for a computer class, you'll want to start there. If he's in 3rd grade, just go to math and then go to math 3. That's 3rd grade. You know, and then if you find it to be too difficult or too easy, you can always go to different sections. They have math and health, reading, science. I believe there's foreign language. Yeah, foreign language here. Art. They have Bible lessons. And then, you know, like basic computer lessons. So this is really great. She has so much information here. And if you click one, let's just say language arts, and we'll go to 1st grade for a moment. Oh, I lost my chat. Okay, there it is. So language arts, and it just kind of gives you a brief of what the program is about. And it starts off from day 1 right there, and it tells you exactly what you need to do for day 1. There's your spelling. You can click on the different links here to pull up like worksheets and things that you can print out for the kids. And that's it for day 1. So you just want to work on this little area plus your spelling for the day, and that's it. Thanks to our local school, he is so far behind, and online we are getting farther behind daily. That's so hard. That's so hard. Let me stop sharing this really quick. Oops. Is it that he doesn't want to do the work? Or is it that it's too difficult or too easy? Why is he getting so far behind? Or what is happening that is causing that? Because I know, like with Jacob, for example, the work was just too easy. And so he was just bored. And so he would just refuse to do it. And it just kept building up, and there was more and more and more of it. So he was getting farther and farther behind. His grades were dropping. And Jacob is extremely smart. There should be no reason why he would be getting D's and F's and things in subjects. And it was just because he was bored out of his mind, and the stuff was just too easy, and he wasn't learning anything that he was interested in, so he wouldn't do it. Hey, Derek has just joined us. Hi, Derek. That's NASCAR Man 3345. Derek, have you met my son Jacob? I don't remember. People would write for him in school, so he can't write. People would read to him, so he can't read. Okay, is that part of his IEP? To read and write for him? Because I know, do we have charter schools? We have them here. We have charter schools here, and the online schools are considered charter schools. One thing that I've learned in Nevada or in Las Vegas is that it doesn't matter if you go to a charter school, a regular school, a private school, you're basically getting the same education across the board, and it's the worst education in the entire country in Las Vegas. So we've kind of had to adapt to that and figure out different plans for Jacob, because he doesn't fit into any of the schools here. He just doesn't.
I don't fit in with you below average tadpoles.
Oh, let's not say that, but so, okay, so is part of his IEP that people write for him and that people read to him? Because I know part of Jacob's IEP was that he could use a scribe, or he could have someone like take notes for him in his class, and that he could type all of his assignments instead of handwriting his assignments. But that IEP was developed a little bit later once we figured out his Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis. Before that, he did learn how to write and handwrite, so he can still write. However, with his IEPs and things in school, he hasn't needed to. He's allowed to type all of his assignments. Our school program is to split the children with IEPs, and they're not allowed into Catholic and private schools. Wow. That should be illegal. That's basically discrimination because you have a disability. That's the way that I look at it.
I think it's just ableism.
Huh?
I think that's just ableism.
I mean, as a private school, you're allowed to choose who can come in and out of your school, and I assume, Catholic is also private. However, I would feel like I would be discriminated against with a disability if they wouldn't allow me in their school. We've gone through that situation here in Las Vegas where Jacob has been denied admission to a school because of his disability. When we were in school private, as long as we took him to public schools for his IEP services, they let us. There were no services at private school. We are in California. Okay, so I can understand that then. I guess if private schools don't have the funding for services, that might be different. Because they're privately funded as opposed to government funding or state funding. All right, that's why I pulled Dominic out of school. He was getting isolated from all the other kids because he was getting mad. They would pull him in a room alone and ride the bus alone. That's such a difficult situation because we've never really been in a public school. I mean, technically online school is still public school. However, it's not a brick and mortar, so it's different. Derek says, my son was deaf till the age of 4 and had an IEP, and that's what they did. He went to private school and went for lessons at a public school. Oh, that's interesting. It's really interesting how they would separate it between schools. But I guess with a private school, they just don't have the funding for the services. In our district, we were very fortunate that they were very exclusive in every way. The idea of IEP is to mainstream as much as possible. Yes, that is exactly what the IEP is designed for, to keep the child mainstreamed and to get the same education as every other child, just that they need a few accommodations, whatever they are. And that eventually they will transition out of an IEP and no longer need it. However, if it's like a physical disability, that may never change, but it could also change into a 504, which is more of just like the physical type things that you need, whereas an IEP is a lot of developmental, what's the words I'm looking for? Educational, no.
Take your time.
Shut up. I don't know. Every time we go live, the words don't come. I don't know.
Hard, man.
I know. English is hard.
This is why I'm learning Japanese. As soon as I go fluent in Japanese, I'm dropping English.
Please don't do that. I won't be able to talk to you.
I'm tempted to do it. I really am.
I'm just gonna walk around then with like Google Translate, and every time you talk to me, I'll be like Google Translate.
Oh, that's gonna go terribly. Oh no! Do not do that.
Yeah.
Google Translate is terrible.
Says they were going to pull him out of school and send him to one that just focused on his behaviors. I mean, the only way I could see like pulling a child out of school is like if they're physically violent. But even then, there's usually something that's causing that. I don't know. It's always so tricky with the schools and the IEPs and you know, here in Las Vegas, I don't know how it is where you're from, but maybe it's something that you can look into. We have a program called PEP. I can't remember what that stands for, but it's PEP. And they have advocates. So it's a completely free service. I called them up and let them know, like, hey, I'm not familiar, and this is when we first started with the IEP. Said, hey, I'm not familiar with the laws. I don't understand the IEP. Help me. And they were very, very knowledgeable and helped me out a lot in understanding um, the rights as a parent, your rights as a child, uh, what you can and can't put in your IEP, what the school legally has to do for your child that has an IEP. And in some cases, they'll even go to your IEP meetings with you and just advocate for your child. And maybe that's something that you need to look at. You did call them, so you have something like that. Okay. We have a school called Meeting Street School that does all the IEPs for the state. And if you meet the criteria, you can go to their school or follow the local public school that accepts IEPs. He was being very mean. Nothing changed at home, which makes me think something changed at school. Even with the severely developmentally delayed students, they would bring mainstream into their classrooms in the form of peer helpers. Derek says, I fought it with the state and won. My son now is a senior in high school and got accepted to a Division I college. That's amazing, Derek. That's awesome. So he's being very mean at school. Nothing's changed at home, so something changed at school. And it's possible that he feels like he's being isolated or being picked on because of his IEP or his disability, and he's being mean, maybe because he's frustrated. But I didn't feel it would do any good. The school already made up their mind about my child. Yeah, that's how I felt with several of the schools that we were in, including Connections Academy, which is why we just decided no longer to do those schools or to be a part of those schools. I'm just reading the chat, sorry. But yeah, definitely, I think homeschooling is a very good thing for kids with IEPs or for kids on the spectrum, because you can really focus on the things that they enjoy and the things that they're good at, and less on the things that cause them frustration or that cause them anxiety. For example, when we were in an online school, and we started with Nevada Virtual Academy, which is K-12, the services that he was getting at school were occupational therapy, and they kept pushing handwriting. And that was really the only thing that they would do every time he would go to occupational therapy was handwriting. And they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to the point where Jacob had completely broken down and didn't want to do anything at all for school or for his therapist. And I just said, that's enough. That's enough. We're done. Obviously something's not working. And we stopped focusing on handwriting. I said, you know what? He doesn't need to handwrite. He already knows the basics of how to write his name. He can spell, he can read. In today's world, almost everything can be typed. Or we have, like, you know, speech to text and all these different things. So I said, we need to stop focusing on that and just focusing on his other needs or things that he's interested in, and not worry about the handwriting anymore. Take that anxiety away from him, take that stress away from him, and things completely changed. Exactly like Susan says, pick the battles. Figure out where they excel or what they're good at and help them more with that. There has to be a better way to handle the whole school system itself and fight about it if we're paying for it out of our taxes. Good luck with that, Derek. Good luck with that.
The best way? Let's just not pay taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do? Send me to prison? Guess what? That's also on taxes. Therefore, now there is no prison. Let's just all not pay taxes.
Jacob for president.
It'd be better than anyone else running.
Jacob, hey, let's not get into politics today. Jacob
True.
for president. Yeah, it's interesting because we passed the law here to legalize marijuana, and this was supposed to help fund our schools. Millions and millions of dollars are sitting somewhere that the schools have never seen. And the money just doesn't go where it needs to go. And I think that even if it did, I don't know that it would fix the school system. You got that set up, OP and speech outside of school. Yeah, I think it's much better because the state funds services for the child in school, such as OP, PT, whatever it is that they need, speech, but it's only for educational purposes. So like with Jacob, he was getting OT through the school, but they would only focus on handwriting. Whereas he goes to OT through our private insurance, and they focus on, you know, the whole body, all the OT, anything that he needs. So having those services through the school is great if you don't have insurance, because at least they're getting something. But if you do have insurance, my personal suggestion, I'm not a doctor or anything like that or a therapist, but my personal suggestion would be to find your own private therapists as opposed to using the school services. We have advocates you can apply for here. They fight with the schools for you. Yes, that's what I was talking about with PEP. We also have another one through FEAT, which is Families for Effective Autism Treatment here in Las Vegas. They have a lady that works closely with them. I can't think of her name right now either, but a lady that works closely with them as an advocate. She does charge for her services. You know, like the very first service with her is usually covered by FEAT. And then if you require additional services, then you would have to pay that yourself. But it's like $25 per service or something. So it's not a huge, you know, like an astronomical amount. Susan says, yes, Jacob, they will send you to jail. Oh, she says, have it in their IEP to use technology. Yes. And that's one thing that you need to learn is what you can and can't have in your IEP. So even if you call, you know, those advocates and ask them like, hey, is this something that I can put in my IEP? Usually the answer is yes. So I have been very surprised at some of the things that we were able to write into our IEP. Like Jacob has been able to use communication devices to communicate with his teacher or in the classroom. He has been able to use his device to type out an assignment and submit it that way. He's been able to have someone take notes for him in class. I know a friend of mine, her son has it written into his IEP. He's ADHD, and he's allowed to have like one of those yoga ball chairs. I forget what they're called, but it's a chair that has a big ball on it. So he could bounce on the ball while he's in class, instead of just trying to sit still, because he would be bouncing all over the classroom and bothering all of the other kids. So this has helped him out a lot, where he can just sit at his desk, but he's allowed to bounce. An ergo chair. Yeah. So it's just a chair with like a big ball on it. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that you could write into an IEP just to help your child. You just have to figure out what they are. So was the lottery here in California 40 years ago, and schools still struggle. And the lottery, I've always, I've lived in California most of my life. We've just lived here in Las Vegas the last 10 years now, I think, but I was born and raised in California, and I've always hated the lottery, because I think that for one person to win $100 million, I mean, that's ridiculous. Think of how many lives you could touch if you gave 100 people $1 million instead of one person $100 million. Or you give one person $1 million and $99 million goes to the schools. Why does a person need $100 million? Like, is that an amount of money you can even spend in a lifetime?
I mean, if you're stupid with it, yes.
Well, I mean, you really could, but it just seems ridiculous to me. It just absolutely seems ridiculous to me. That's why I like vocational schools, to find what they need. Yes, definitely. Susan says, you're killing me with how flexible your hands are. Oh, you have no idea, Susan. Yeah, with Jacob, with Ehlers-Danlos, Jacob is crazy flexible, like Gumby. Susan says, being this parent had me working to be educated how to advocate efficiently for services. It's not easy. It's hard to be that person. And schools didn't like me. Exactly. You know what? Schools don't like me either. They know me by name. They avoid me when they see me coming. I think they avoid my phone calls. They avoid calling me back. I had a principal one time, she scheduled an appointment with me. I showed up for the appointment. Then her secretary, or whoever the lady was in the front, said that she was running late in her meeting. So I waited for like an additional, almost an hour, when finally I was just like, it's been over an hour. Is she still in this meeting? Like, what's going on? That's really unfair to me. I've been here. I was here on time. And then the lady proceeded to tell me, oh, she went to lunch. So that's when we left that school. But I think part of it is that a lot of educators and administrators aren't familiar with the laws and how IEPs are supposed to work. I know I went to school to be a teacher. I wasn't taught anything about IEPs, special needs, disabilities. I wasn't taught any of that. And I think as an educator and as an administrator, that's definitely something you need to learn, because it's the law. You know, if a child in your classroom has an IEP, it's the law that you follow it. And it is definitely hard. It's constantly a battle and it's constantly a fight. But I guess that's our job, right, as a parent. Oh, Derek says, I'm still advocating, not just for my kids. I'm doing it for myself, being legally blind, and what is available for me and to help the family. Yeah, I know. And I think it gets worse too as we get older, because there's less and less services that are available for us as we're older. Rights law, is that national? The rights law? Do you know what that is, Jacob?
No.
No, I don't know what that is either. Rights law. I don't know if that's national. I haven't heard of it before. Let's see what it is. Oh, we're already going over our special education law and advocacy. Okay, I haven't heard of that, so I didn't know what it was, but I think it's a big book. Just donated it. Parents' Rights. Yeah, it says special education law, including. See, I know what the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is, and that's what's included in that book that you're talking about. So that's very interesting. I'm not well versed in it, but it could be helpful. It could be, definitely. I'm going to look at that after I get off here and check it out, see what it is. But currently, with the school that Jacob's in, he does not have an IEP. He does not have a 504. This particular school is a private school, but it's not teacher driven. So he can work at his own pace, his own speed, and finish the program when he feels like finishing it. So he can take his time in the areas where he's struggling, and he can work faster through the areas that are just easy for him. And it's all online. He doesn't have to turn in any handwritten assignments or anything like that. So currently, he doesn't need any accommodations. Hi, Mari. How are you? She says, I've been listening. You're a go-getter, Crystal. His school sounds wonderful. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a go-getter, but when it comes to my kid, don't tell him no. Especially when it comes to his education. You know, if I feel that I guess advocacy is just the word that I'm looking for, is that he deserves the same thing that everyone else deserves. And you know, a lot of times these kids with IEPs and 504s don't get that. They get the opposite. And I think that's just because our teachers and our schools aren't aware of the laws. They don't understand, or maybe they just don't know how to read an IEP. I don't know, but exactly. You're only doing what it takes to be a parent. Yeah. Yeah. And you want the best for your kid. So I want to make sure that, you know, when me and his dad aren't around anymore, that he's able to take care of himself and that he has everything in place for him, that he had the best chance for the best education, or whatever it is that he needs. You know, if he decides to go to college, You know, I will help him pursue that. If he decides he doesn't want to do that, I will help him pursue whatever it is that makes him happy. And that's just being a parent. But I think we're going to get off here because we've already been over an hour. I'm starting to lose my voice. But
voice after an hour?
Huh?
You lose your voice after an hour?
No, but my allergies have been like crazy, and I woke up with like a scratchy throat, and I can feel my voice like going in and out right now. So it's weird. But next Thursday, huh?
Because before I was doing like 6-hour streams and I was fine, so I was a bit surprised.
6 hours? How do you go for 6 hours?
What do you mean?
But are you talking the whole time? The whole 6 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exhausting. Derek says, as a parent, you always look out for your child and their friends. You want your kids to have great goals. Yes, I do look out for my son's friends as well. Like Aiden is like my adopted son. I love him to death just as my own kid. So gotta go. Great conversation today, and same here. Want him to be independent. Yep. I think teachers are burned out. They make no money and they see the IEP as just more unpaid work. That's true. I agree with that as well. Happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, because I'm not going to see you before then, unless I'm in like some other reseller chats and things like that. Then I might see you before Christmas, but not back here on, probably not on my channel. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, whatever it is that you celebrate. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So Thursday is what, the day after Christmas? Yeah, so we might still do our live stream. I think we'll still do our live stream on Thursday. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of you being here and your questions and your chat. It definitely helps me too when I run out of things to talk about that you guys participate in the chat, and then I'm able to keep talking. So thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next Thursday. Yes, Derek, stay positive, be strong. It's a great way to end it. Thank you, Derek. Bye, everybody.